The purpose of this video is to provide an overview of some of the changes that we have made to the Ortus-iHealth platform. These changes cover a number of functionalities based off of feedback from experience to date from both patients and hospital teams. The first change that we have made is some updates to the health summary within a patient record. To find this, search for a patient under the Search Users option, where you still have the option to search by last name, first name, hospital number or NHS number, and you have your recently accessed patients on the right-hand side. Select a patient and navigate to their health summary. A number of changes have been made with the tabs available across the top of the health summary here, including a change from medical warning to allergy, and the removal of immunization, visits, and follow-ups. We have also updated the clinical notes function within a patient profile. This update now includes the patient information banner at the top of the screen, including name, gender, age, date of birth, NHS, hospital numbers, address, and mobile contact number here as well. You are also able to download and access a copy of a patient's history and record within Ortus in its entirety. To do so, search for the user, again by last name, last name, hospital number or NHS number, or through the recently accessed patients on the right-hand side. And on the patient profile, you will see in the top right-hand corner a clipboard with a download icon on here. Hover over that and the option will be Health Summary Report. By clicking this, you will download a copy of the patient's health summary report, which includes all of their information that has taken place while they have been in Ortus. Once this has been downloaded, you will be able to share this with colleagues across primary, secondary, or community care, for example, uploading this onto the electronic patient record. So here, the patient health summary record will display an overview of the patient's demographics at the top of the page, as well as the date that the report has been produced. There is a full patient demographic record at the back of the document. The most recent 5 measurements for observations will be included. Any medications that have been inputted, or throughout this document, if there's no data available, i.e. the patient hasn't had any medications provided or inputted into their health profile that are current, no data available will be displayed. Historic medications, including notes and the source, are displayed, as well as any admissions into a virtual ward, including the name of the ward, the admission date, a reason if given, when the patient was discharged with any reasons, a history of actions that have been taken, including time, date, the action taken, and who it was by, any future appointments that are configured within Ortus, but also any past appointments that are configured within Ortus, and if there is an associated questionnaire with those appointments as well. A history of diagnoses or previously provided diagnoses are displayed, as well as previously inputted symptoms, including severity, any notes, if follow-up questions were answered by the patients, associated follow-up question responses, any goals, including the goal name, a description, start and end date, any initial or target tasks, and then tasks associated with that goal. You're also able to see if a patient has been sent rehabilitation or useful documents to be accessed, and when they were sent, and the associated diagnosis as well. A history of questionnaires that the patient has submitted are available, including the response date from the patient, who it was sent by, and the questionnaire type. If the patient has been put onto a treatment or a pathway within Ortus, you're able to see a history of these, including the treatment or pathway the patient was put onto, the associated diagnosis, the clinician who provided it, where the treatment or pathway took place, if consent was sent to the patient to complete, and then a date if they have completed it. Any clinical notes within the patient's profile will also be attached to this document. And as previously mentioned, a full set of patient demographic reports are available as well. When configuring templated messages, we have enabled the ability to select multiple virtual wards or multiple instances to be able to access the same templated message rather than creating the same message repeatedly. To do so, go to Add a new templated message, give the message a name, a predefined subject, and a reminder that this is what the patient sees. Add in the predefined message, and then you're also able to select where this applies. So you can apply this to compose a message. This is when you're messaging a patient individually from their profile. You can apply this to a group message, where you're messaging a group of patients using the group mail function. Bear in mind, this will send the message to the entirety of the patients within Ortus, or to a virtual ward. Here, you're able to select multiple virtual wards in order to be able to apply this message to all of the virtual wards selected. You can then choose whether this applies to a group message, i.e. being able to use the group message function within a virtual ward, an individual patient message, or a discharge message for the patient. As previously, you also have the ability to choose a file from a local source and add this to the message as well. Simply press save, and this will become active within the Ortus portal. Under the updates to the Ortus portal, you are able to configure useful documents to be associated with more than one diagnosis. In principle, this means that you can send patients the same pack of documents if they have multiple diagnoses, or if you want to provide the same set of documents to two different patients who have different diagnoses. Previously, these would have had to have been configured separately, but now you're able to configure these documents to be sent to patients who are given different diagnoses as well. To configure this, go to the Useful Documents section of the main menu on the left-hand side, where you will see a list of previously configured useful documents. But to add a new useful document, select the orange plus button from the right-hand side, give the document a title, a description, and then you're able to select this from either a list of diagnoses that have previously been configured, or you're able to free text a diagnosis in here as well. To associate this document with multiple diagnoses, you now have the option to add a diagnosis with the orange plus button here. Add in as many diagnoses as you want. You're also able to remove these diagnoses, for example, if you select the incorrect one, and then just choose your file as you would do normally from your local source. Press save, and this will get updated for new patients and patients who have previously been given a diagnosis as well. There have also been a number of changes made to the virtual ward functionality within Ortus. To access your virtual wards, navigate to the virtual ward icon on the left-hand side under the main menu. And where you previously would have had a list of virtual wards you have configured shown here, we have added a drop-down option for you to be able to select virtual wards from the list here. Select the virtual ward you wish to view, and your patients in that virtual ward will still display as usual. The process for creating a new virtual ward remains the same. Navigate to the orange plus button, give the virtual ward a title, a description, and a questionnaire if you wish to. And the same process for adding patients still exists. With the Admit Patient button, you can search for patients already existing within Ortus by first name, last name, NHS number or hospital number, or alternatively, you have the option to add a new patient to Ortus and add them directly into this virtual ward using the New Patient button here. You will be redirected to the Add Patient screen, where you can search for a patient on NHS Spine using their NHS number. You'll simply need to then add in their hospital number or their MRN number and create their profile. Once you do that, the patient will be added into the virtual ward and also into Ortus as well. Additionally, within the virtual ward, we have added the ability to take further actions based off the previous action list. These apply to both questionnaires and to symptoms. To review the available actions in Ortus, select an action, and then you will have the ability to see further drop-downs here. we have added in to say that you are awaiting further information from the patient or from a member of the hospital team, or that you're also escalating this patient to a consultant as well. Additionally, you're able to add a note and save that for other members of your team to be able to see. If you were to select that you were awaiting further information and press save, you will then see a yellow action button appear, which enables you to be able to review what has happened based on the previous action taken. So here, awaiting further information, you would then be able to say, review the patient's priority and press save, which would then turn the action button red, as we can see, action button green. We have also made 2 additional changes to the virtual ward. The first of these is an admission column. This indicates the number of days that a patient has been in a specific virtual ward, where you're able to filter by those who have been added today, but also those who have been added for the longest period of time as well. If you have a virtual ward with a high number of patients, then you're able to select all patients within a virtual ward across multiple pages of patients, and then you're able to deselect an individual page of a virtual ward. Previously, you were able to select all patients, but then you had to go through and manually deselect these patients. Whereas now, the first page of patients exists still and is selected, but the second page isn't. You also have the option to be able to deselect all patients still. Within the Ortus virtual ward system, we've also made a number of updates. By taking an action with a patient, you now have an enhanced list of actions that you're able to select from, including awaiting further information, for example, from the patient, escalating to a consultant, as well as having their priority reviewed. If we select awaiting further information, for example, on a response to a questionnaire, you would be able to add a note to this field, and then you'd be able to save. Where there is a requirement for further information, the red action button will change to a yellow action button, where you then have the ability, once you have received further information, to take an action to turn that button into a green actioned button. Additionally, there is now the functionality to be able to undo actions that have been taken with a specific patient. By selecting the green actioned button, you're able to undo the most recent action, and there is a mandatory field with this that has to be completed to add a note as to why this action has been undone. You're then able to save this, and this will display in the history of actions that you can view on a patient. To access this history of actions, you can select either the yellow action button, the red action button, or a green actioned button. And there is a clock or time icon in the top right-hand corner, where a history of actions that have previously been sent will display. Information displayed here will show the response time from the patient, so when they have submitted their questionnaire or symptoms, the action that was taken previously by the clinician reviewing them, any notes that were added, who the action was taken by, and when it was actioned.